and today I'm going to give you some tips on teaching piano lessons. Today I'm going to talk about just some general teaching tips that really you could apply to teaching anything, but that you especially need to apply to teaching music. My number one rule of teaching that I always remember is to ask questions. I try to ask at least 3 questions for every song that the child plays. Here's a song from the Alfred Premier Piano Course Level 1A, and this is getting towards the end of the book now where the child has learned to read notes on the staff. And so I would ask 3 questions. First I would ask, what is this? And they would say, that's treble clef. And then I would ask, what's our very first note? And they should say, it's the E. And then I would say, well, what is our very first bass clef note? And they would have to look along. Oh, our first bass clef note is G. Or if I wanted to review rests, I might ask them, what's this squiggly one right here? And they would have to say, that's a quarter rest. So before we play the song, I ask them at least 3 questions about the song. So it might be something that's brand new to that song, or it might be something that is a review, that they should already know that. And you'd be surprised how that one little tip actually will make a world of difference in your teaching, and it's a way to keep that student interacting. You're always getting feedback from them. Do they remember what we did last week? Do they understand this song? Do they know where they're expected to place their hands at the beginning of the song? Some kids are more detail-oriented and other kids are more the big picture. And so you can definitely get a read on that kid based on the things that they remember and the things that they notice. And the way to do that is just to ask them questions. Sometimes one of my questions will have nothing whatever to do with the actual playing of the song. It'll have to do with the subject of the song. For instance, this song is called A Page or Two, and there's a picture of a girl sitting there reading. So I always ask, every time the kid plays this song, I ask, do you like to read? What's your favorite book to read? So sometimes one of my questions is just a personal question. And that leads me into my second tip, make it memorable. When you're teaching a new concept or a new song, you want to make it memorable for the child to remember what you're actually telling them. One of the ways to do that is to make it personal. Ask a personal question. Do you like to read? We're doing a song about reading. And now suddenly, this personal to them, and that makes that song memorable to them. Sometimes in order to make it personal, I'll actually tell a personal story. There's a song in here, Skateboard Champ. And whenever one of my students plays Skateboard Champ, I always tell a little story about how when I was a kid, my little brother had a skateboard and I tried to go on his skateboard and I went along for about 2 feet and then whoop, I fell right on my bottom. And kids always laugh at that because, of course, the image of your teacher as a little girl falling down on her bottom, that's just hilarious to them. So not only have I made a personal connection to them, but I've also made that song memorable. Suddenly they're all inspired, they want to play Skateboard Champ. Another way that I'll try to make new concepts memorable is I actually do this funny little thing where I pretend like the notes are talking to each other, or I'll pretend like my fingers are talking to each other. So I want you to remember this hand position where this finger goes here, and so then I'll say, now thumb, you get out of my way, pointer finger belongs there. Now you're not supposed to be in the way. Or I'll make up some little thing about how whole note is saying to quarter note, hey, I'm bigger than you, so you have to listen to me. I take up the whole measure. So you quarter note, you get out of my way. Silly little things like that, kids love it. It makes it memorable to them, and they will remember the whole note forever, because whole note is a big pompous guy who takes up the whole measure. Sometimes you have to be ridiculous or paint a picture of something, and however silly it is, kids will remember that. Sometimes I'll tell my kids to imagine that the song actually sounds like a different instrument. I'll say, wow, imagine if this sounded like trumpets. Ta-da-ta-ta! Wouldn't that be great? This is that type of song. So we want to play it forte because trumpets are really loud. If they're imagining trumpets, then it's definitely going to be memorable for them. Even with college-age students, I'll tell them to make up a story to go with the song. What is the mood of your song? What is the message of your song? What is your song trying to say? And this works from everybody from 4-year-olds to 90-year-olds. Music has a message and it's going to say something. It's going to speak to you in some way. So you might as well make up a story to go with it. Define exactly what it is that you're trying to say with your music, and then you can express yourself in that. So those are the 2 tips that I have for you today. Ask questions, at least 3 per song, and make it memorable. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, your ideas of how to make it memorable for the kids. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.